Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Care, the podcast where we explore the real experiences, skills, and heart that go into caregiving. I'm your host, Annika Dhariwal, co founder of Learn to Care. Today's topic is something I believe every caregiver and family member needs to hear: how to treat an individual living with Alzheimer's disease as well as dementia. It's about respect, dignity, and preserving the human connection no matter how the disease progresses. Joining me is Leslie Sedille, a certified senior advisor, certified geriatric care manager, certified Montessori dementia care practitioner, and family liaison at Paradise Home Healthcare. Leslie brings a wealth of experience in senior advocacy and person-centered care, with a commitment to ensuring that every client is treated like family. Leslie, welcome to Beyond Care.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
I'd like to start by asking, how can caregivers shift their mindset to focus on the person first rather than the disease they're living with?
Yeah, it's very hard when you have somebody that has, Alzheimer's or dementia, especially with family. But you need to remember that that person is not their disease. They're still that individual that you grew up with or you have those family memories with. So you need to be patient. You need to just continue to treat that individual with dignity and respect and remember the good times. Remember the that individual as they were. If they were a librarian, if they were a housewife, if they were, a professor. So remember that, not the disease, because that's not who they are. They're not the disease. The disease is its own, its own animal. That's not who they are.
Right. And then what are some practical ways caregivers can adapt their daily activities so they honor the person's strength rather than focusing on their limitation?
So you want to have them involved as much as possible. You don't want to do for them. You want to let them keep as much independence as possible, and that goes back to like the dignity. So if they are able to fold towels, let them do it, even if you have to refold it. So you want to, what can they do? You want to figure out things that they can do and do that with them. One, it could slow down the decline. If they're doing more for themselves, for example, even in the shower, don't just wash their own hair. Let them, wash their own body, dry themselves off as much as possible. Is it going to be perfect? Maybe not. And you may have to go back and do a little bit for them, but letting them do as much for themselves gives them a sense of purpose, and it makes you feel good as well because you're interacting with them. You know, I wouldn't say like they don't have the disease, but you're interacting with them and not having to do everything for them, making it feel like they have so many limitations is I guess what I'm trying to say. So you want to find things that they can do. Same thing with if they are able to go out. Where are they able to go to? If they're not, if are they able to tolerate restaurants? Can they go out to restaurants? I want to put them in situations that it's going to be a disaster for you and them. If it's going to make them anxious, it's going to make you anxious, and then it's just going to be a whole disaster for everybody. So you find what is good for them and build on those strengths, and that'll help both of you. It'll help the whole family, and communicate that to other family members. So when they come, they can do that too, and that goes to puzzles, that goes to games, so anything that they're able to do. Let them do it as much as possible.
I really like that point because I feel like sometimes when we're caring for people, we almost tend to like overmanage, micromanage, and like overcompensate, which then will like maybe even be taking away certain things that they would be able to do, but we're just assuming that they wouldn't be able to do it, right?
Yes, and I always tell families and I tell clients that are resistant to care, because even, clients that have Alzheimer's, they're very vocal in getting care as well, and they're resistant. They don't want strangers in the home. They don't want care. They don't think they need help. For a long time, you have people that have Alzheimer's are out driving and they get lost, and that's why in Florida we have the silver alert, and you see a lot of silver alerts. God forbid that you have a car with a plate that is on you. Who knows where they are, but the alert's sent out. It's kind of like an Amber Alert, but it's a silver alert.
Right.
So I tell them and their family members, we're not trying to take away your independence. We're trying to allow you to keep your independence as long as possible. The caregiver is going to be here almost as a safety net. They're just here to help you with what you can't do.
Right.
They're not here to do for you. And I do communicate doing, because there are some clients that they just want it done for them. They just do. They just want the care done. But the majority of them, that still can do for themselves. I let the caregivers know, let them do it. And if they can't jump in, don't let them sit there and feel like they can't do it for a while. And then, because that is a whole, it makes them feel inadequate. But assist them and help them keep their independence, because that's what everybody wants. They don't want a
Right.
caregiver. Nobody wants a caregiver, really.
And what communication techniques do you think help preserve dignity and reduce frustration for both the caregiver as well as the person receiving care?
A big one is use your words, your phrases carefully. And I know that it's hard. It is so hard. My mother went through it with my dad, and I had to keep reminding her, don't say things like, "Don't you remember?" They don't. No, he
Mm.
doesn't. My dad didn't remember, and that's why he's saying it again. But she got incredibly frustrated because she would hear the same thing over and over, and it's like, so what? It's so it doesn't matter. Just if he's safe and he's able to tell you the same story for the 30th time, yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating. However, he's able to tell you the same story for the 30th time, because there's going to be a time where he's not able to tell you that story. So you need to, remember that, remember what you say to the individual that is, has the disease, and and keep your tone down. Really be at their level. When you're assisting them, uh, come down to eye level. You don't want to be towering over them, even if they're in a hospital bed, when they're at a chair eating any meal. Kneel down or bend down, preferably kneeling, not bending like you're towering over them, at their level, and speak to them, because it's non-confrontational. That's just body language that makes them feel a little bit more safe. You're speaking to them at a level that they feel comfortable with. You're not over
Mhm.
them telling them, why aren't you eating that? You didn't eat that, um so that's a big communication tool, is to kneel, bend. You have to kneel on the floor, but just
Right.
the individual, they don't understand why you're upset. They don't get it. They don't know what they did, and they feel bad. They feel so bad.
Mhm.
We've had clients that they've started crying and said, like, I don't know what I did. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's just alleviate that, walk away. Don't
Right.
leave, but come back. But take that break. It's okay. And then come back, deep breaths, and then start over what you're trying to do. And that goes with a lot of the tasks if it gets frustrating. But again, the person needs to be in a safe environment. Don't walk away if they're in the shower.
Right.
Finish the task that you're with. And allow the other person to communicate. Let them ask them, What do you want? Let them tell you. They can tell you.
Hmm.
They know what they want.
And then finally, what advice do you have for caregivers to stay grounded in the relationship and to keep finding moments of joy along the way in their journey?
Um, you need to take the good with the bad. There's going to be terrible moments, but there's try to make as many good moments as you can. Don't always feel like you're running around and having to do everything because you don't have to.
Hmm.
You can reach out for help, so you're not the only one doing it, because there are some people that have said later, I wish I would have gotten some help. It doesn't have to be all day. It doesn't have to be 24 hours. It doesn't even have to be 8 hours, but even 3 days a week. So you can go out and get your nails done. So you can go do your doctor's appointments. And then you have that time. Um, you feel a little more relaxed and are able to have good moments.
Hmm.
If it's your spouse, or even if it's your mom or your dad, you're able to maybe pull out the scrapbook and sit down and look at pictures. And but if you're stressed out and you're just about to break, and you don't want resentment at the time, resenting having to take care of that individual. That happens a lot when you have siblings that are out of state and you're the one that is sitting there having to take care of the individual. You just feel like, why am I here? Why am I stuck here? Why am I doing this? It's not fair. None of that. None of that. Make the memories, spend the time, because when it's over, you're going to have regrets, and you do not want to have regrets.
Right. I agree with that point. I think about not having regrets because that just applies to, I think, also so many other situations in life. So it's always better to like think twice before you do certain things and like
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
decisions on.
Is this the best decision, before I do it? Because you do not want to have regrets. And there are, people that are around that can help you. You just, reach out, call places, see, what is there. And again, it doesn't have to be all day, every day. But if you need a break, you need a break, because
Mhm.
it's not fair to either one of you.
Leslie, thank you for showing us today that even with complex conditions such as Alzheimer's or dementia, dignity and humanity can kind of remain at the heart of care. And for our listeners, remember that diagnosis is just one part of the journey. There's so many other steps and considerations that kind of have to be kept in mind as part of the care journey. If today's conversation resonated with you, please share it with another caregiver who could use this encouragement. And as always, take care of yourself and each other. And thank you for listening to Beyond Care.